Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Excalibur Roundtable Tech Talk. I am Mike Fuson. This is one of our extended series, and I have with me Will Barrows from CG4. Will, thanks for
Hello,
joining me
Mike.
again today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And it's always exciting when we get together because we talk about the cool stuff that is asset tracking. And one of the scenarios we've talked about is stockroom audits and being able to make better purchasing decisions by leveraging asset tracking technology. And I had shared with you, I was kind of thinking about this back in Excalibur's days as an MSP and things we've seen from our MSP customers. Where we're helping them with their service management initiatives are all facing. As an MSP, as you're doing break fix things, you usually stock certain items. You don't usually have an extensive inventory, but you've got some hard drives, you've got some monitors, keyboard, mice, and what have you, as replacements if a customer were to have a problem. Some of our larger MSPs that we deal with actually may stock replacement devices. One of our MSPs we work with works with folks that are in the dairy industry, and they actually fix and stock and track their barcode scanners, mobile printers, a lot of their mobile technology that the drivers use, and they have parts to be able to do repairs. Well, when you start to think about it, you can get into a lot of parts. And I know some of the things we looked at was really inventory control. Um, you know, we don't want to have too many hard drives because the prices were constantly changing, literally week on week. We want to at least be able to get our cost for the device back. Hopefully eke out a profit, but maybe not. But the ability to actually take an inventory of things that are in a stockroom can be very important. And it's one of those things that, as I've talked to folks about this, doesn't necessarily hit them as hard, but nobody's surprised that your local supermarket or your local big box store, that's exactly what they're doing all the time. How many XYZ widgets do we have that are on the shelf when they do an inventory? They're doing that using barcode scanning as well. There's no mystery to what they're doing and comparing it to what the computer says that they've sold, because we've had this conversation before where people are used to, you scan at the checkout, right, and they know that inventory is decreasing, so they know if they should be running low on something. But stuff gets moved around, or people like to pick things up and not put it back where they got it from. And how many are we supposed to have? How many do we have when we do these inventories? But it could be applied to simple stock rooms, and that could be in an IT department that may have certain laptops, desktops, servers they work with, and they may stock memory. They may stock power supplies, things to repair the devices that they have. But how many do we have? And that could apply to laptops they may have in inventory, or monitors, any other devices. And to be able to do that inventory check on a regular basis is very easily done leveraging the barcoding technology, or RFID tags for that matter. But you could do it using either, or both for that
Yeah,
matter, if you really want to.
yeah, because a lot of times people count on what is, if you're talking IT equipment, what's discovered on the network, and then if it's not discoverable, like if it's in a stock room, then you have no idea what's in there unless you're doing a periodic inventory. And next thing you know, you're not going to need the parts, have the parts that you need to keep your dairy enterprise moving, or to keep that laptop up and running for that employee.
Right. Or as I've seen some clients go through, they may go through an upgrade path where they're going to add memory to laptops. Well, how many do we have on hand? How many do we have on order? It's part of that IT asset management process, that workflow. We have stuff on order, and as we receive it, is it being checked in? And these are parts being stored in a stockroom. And like you said, they're not being discovered. They have to be inventoried. But being able to leverage the barcode scanning technology or RFID scanning technology to do that inventory tells us what do we actually have here. And we can compare that to what we thought we had on hand. And they should match, right? Because people should be pulling stuff out of inventory if it's being
Right.
used. But that also makes that easy for them to pull it out of inventory. I'm putting this 16 gigs of additional RAM into XYZ laptop. And we using the modules within CG4, we could actually affect that whole process. It's being pulled from stock, and then here's the device, zip zap, that this memory is going into, and could be done leveraging the modules, thereby updating our CMDB appropriately, showing that the laptop had gone through some sort of upgrade, as an example, or a server for that matter.
Hmm.
And then you think about some devices. Well, laptops have their own barcode or RFID tag because they're tracked as a separate asset. But some assets within servers, I think about like you could have a server cabinet, but it could have blades, and each blade is considered its own asset because it has a chip and memory and other things that are a part of it. And we may have blade components or full blades sitting in that stock room to be able to be put into one of our blade servers, and being able to track those assets and move them in and out from an inventory perspective can be very helpful. What other you probably have other examples that you can that you've seen, where this stuff becomes pretty important because these
Yeah,
are things that cost us money.
like one thing that comes to mind is I was talking with one of the customers recently, and they were they were wanting to order some more laptops because they were out, they thought. And it turns out they had more than enough in one of the other stock rooms. They just hadn't done an inventory out there. They were the extra laptops were just sitting there waiting for someone to say, hey, I'm here in this stock room. And then they wouldn't have had to buy new equipment if they had gone on to buy that, if they hadn't found those, and so just, it cuts back on, unnecessary purchases to stay on top of your stock rooms. And I think there was one example that you gave on one of our talks where they had two phone systems because someone didn't, show that this had been received and it was sitting on the dock. That whole thing of knowing what you've got and knowing where it is helps save emergencies, helps save unnecessary spending. Anyway, those are a couple of thoughts that come to mind.
Well, and it's interesting. Well, it's something that we've talked about a lot in our extended Tech Talk episodes and in our webinars. What the asset tracking technology does, specifically CG4, is it saves you time and gains you accuracy. One of the most painful things to do is that inventory, right?
Yeah,
Whether it be
no one wants to do it.
right, but whether it be a data center inventory, which are complicated. We've talked about that in other episodes. This is not that much different. You've got to go into the stock room and what do we have? But being able to leverage the technology to make it easy, because I can scan that barcode, and because I'm scanning that barcode, I know what it is. And boom,
Exactly.
boom, 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 boom. I've got the inventory. I can update the inventory, and that may throw off an alert saying, "Hey, based on what the system says we're supposed to have on hand, we're off or we're over." Well, okay, how'd that happen, right? Where's the invoice or the order of where we got more of these? It makes sure that we can. It helps us ensure and fill that hole of making sure our processes are being maintained. And
Right.
above all, number one, it makes it easier, right? Because like you said, you know, you got to draw straws to find out who's going to go do that task, because
Right.
it's
It's
just.
probably the lowest item on their priority stack,
Mhm.
because
But
it's
when we,
painful a lot of times.
it's painful and time consuming, and when we
Yep.
make it efficient and we're able to ensure accuracy, it makes it all that much better. All I've got to do is go in and go zip, 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 zip. What do we have in here? All I've got to do is scan everything. I don't have to think about it. I just got to go through and just quickly scan everything, make sure it's all been captured, and then I can upload that and let systems help me understand if we're off or something is goofy, I can get through that and do that as a very, very quick task, and my accuracy is ensured because I've scanned the label for that device and I know what it is,
Yeah.
whether it
So
be asset tags or whether it be barcodes that tell me what the particular item is.
there are so many benefits from just doing that regular inventory. You just, prevent so many problems that we've talked about. It's just the starting spot of doing, great management of your assets is to do that regular inventory because, some people they'll have hundreds of thousands of assets. And if they find one that is not where it's expected, it raises all sorts of red flags and they start going backwards through the processes that ended up with that asset in an unexpected place because the processes are so important, So what broke down to get this asset to where it was not expected? Just that good asset management started by the inventory is a great way to stay on top of your assets.
Well, Will, as always, thank you for your insights, and thank you for joining me today. We want to encourage everyone. CG4 and asset tracking, we can't say it enough. This stuff will save you time and save you money. Reach out to the team at Excalibur. We'd love to bring Will in and the team at CG4 and show you what we can do to help save you money and make you more efficient. And quite frankly, as we've talked about, maybe makes the people happier. They don't mind being the one being asked to do the inventory because they can do it easily and accurately. Will, thank you
Yes.
as always.
In addition to all the savings that you just mentioned, it'll save on headaches too. So don't leave that one out. All right. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Will. We'll look forward to seeing you again.
All right. Sounds good.